Hello, hello. It is your Astro Coach Sarah here for Wellness Astrology, this time for the moon in Pisces, the sun in Gemini. Ooh, just take a deep breath. It's all gonna be okay. It's all divinely orchestrated. Some of it's scripted. It's a game of chess. It's a game of strategy. And it's what I said when we moved into Saturn in Aries, is that for the next 3 years, this is the survival of the hustlers, the strategists, and those who can mentally and physically and emotionally manage themselves concurrently while they're hustling and while they're strategizing. And so as we move into this moon in Pisces here to start off this week, gosh, and I do record ahead of time. So, but certainly something is coming through. Something has been, you know, disruptive, upsetting, shaky, earthquakey, all of those sorts of things. Jupiter is in between his conjunction, or excuse me, his square between Saturn and then his upcoming square to Neptune. And so certainly, there could be things going on with money systems. Um, we're going to continue to see that as, certainly as Uranus gets into Gemini next month. Um, and, there's always this um, creativity comes to mind, getting creative about your money and finances, getting creative. The moon's in Pisces, Jupiter and Mercury are in Cancer. Those are water signs. Use these water sign energies to tune into your creativity. Neptune is a watery planet and rules things like creativity and flow and whatnot. And so, while we're in this kind of sticky energy of all these squares, it's still a good opportunity to tune into your creative flow. And honestly, it's not even as much, it's twofold. It's as much tuning into your creative flow as it is having the goddamn balls or the boobs, if you're a girl, to show your creativity. And I have it that most people don't have it, don't have the balls. They don't have the courage to share their creativity. They think it's stupid. They think nobody's going to like it. All of the self-doubt. And with Pluto now in Aquarius, Neptune in Aries, Uranus, Uranus headed into Gemini, Jupiter's going to be in Cancer for a year, actually more than that. It's like 12 and a half months or something. Jupiter's going to be in Cancer for a year. Like, and honestly, at this point, I don't know how many of you doom scroll social media, but most quote unquote content creators are just stupid. Some of them are good. I'm good, I think. I know I'm pretty low tech and I'm pretty low key, but I think I'm pretty good. Um, and I definitely need to want to make some shifts in how I create content. But so that's my thing that I need to work on, is being more technological and innovative with my content. Um, but most people have poor camera angles, poor lighting, poor sound quality, and you're worried about what people will think of your content or your art. Most people think that they're not creative. Um, and you're probably one of those people. And I'm going to tell you right now, you are creative. You're just afraid and do not have the courage to share it. Well, Neptune and Aries is going to show us all that each of us, Neptune and Aries and Pluto and Aquarius, is going to show us all that we all have creativity and that we all are unique in our creative palettes, shall we say. So this moon in Pisces, Neptune is the dispositor, the ruler. It's a good time to tune into your creativity. Jupiter's in Cancer, Mercury's in Cancer, Sun's finishing up in Gemini. Got a couple more days of Gemini season, and then we move into Cancer season in summer. And so it's going to be, a really fun time to be creative and have a little fun. I think that may be, I mean, there's the worries and the woes of the world around us. And if you look at that like it's a movie or a theatrical presentation, a theatrical production that is well scripted, um, because it's well scripted to cause emotional reactions and responses from the collective. It's scripted to look a certain kind of way if you're willing to ask the questions about what's going on. Um, but I think most people kind of get just swept into it. It's almost like an emotional attachment to your favorite singer, actor, actress, your favorite radio personality, something like that. And then you find out that they're a raging alcoholic, or your favorite pro team player, and you find out that they um, are a wife, they aren't, they beat their wife, right? They beat their kids, they, do something like that. It's we get this emotional attachment to celebrities or public figures, and then we find out something like awful about them, and we're like, oh, I'm so disappointed. First of all, we only see, it's kind of like the same thing with social media influencers. We only see what people are willing to show us. And usually, in this case, with the case of public figures, we're only seeing the glamour. We're seeing them in a movie. We're seeing them or hearing them on the radio. We're hearing their new album. Um, we're not a part of their daily life. Think about it when it comes to, oh, what is the term? I can't think of the term, but like a pen name for an author, right? I was perusing Goodreads years and years ago, and I was at the time reading a bunch of Joanne Fluke books. I can't stand her now, but I at the time was reading her stuff. And therefore, like, the recommended books for me, because she writes books from like a bakery, like a bake shop murder mystery series, and they're really lame. And but so what was getting recommended to me was like donut shop and pizza shop and candle making murders and all of this. And I was like, wait, these are, some of them, a couple of those series like had the same author, and or had different author names. And so I clicked on the author name to get like a vibe for the whole series of books. And it turns out that the author in question is like a man author who's a stay-at-home dad at the time. This was probably like 9 years ago. I really don't remember when I was reading these books, but it was like quite a while ago. But it turns out the author of like the donut shop, the pizza shop, and the whatever girly theme-ish murder mystery books was the stay-at-home dad who was like an old fat dude who was a stay-at-home dad, but he's going by these female names to attract a female audience. And I'm sure there's plenty of women who eat that stuff up. I'm sure my mom would read something like that. And that's not a criticism. It's just that this person, Fern Michaels, who's an author, and I'm pretty sure that's her pen name, and I forget what her real name is, but she said, I go to work every day as Fern Michaels. And I, devote my, mornings or however long to being Fern Michaels. Like, that's her job, just like any other public figure. It's their job. You only see scenes or bits and pieces of their job. So think about that when you're like, you know, wondering about your own creativity. It's not a question of are you creative? The question is truly, do you have the gall, the balls, the boobs, the guts to actually put it out there? And with this moon in Pisces, the Jupiter, Mercury in Cancer, the sun is heading into Cancer. We've definitely got an opportunity to go with the flow of the water. And we're not going to have much of this for the next year. So we really got to take advantage of these times. Yes, this is a moon and it's only a couple of days. But when I'm working with clients who tend to overwork themselves, which this happens frequently, I often, they're like, "What do I do? What do I do?" I'm like, "Feel into your water placements." That's how you tap in or tune in to the feminine flow or the creative flow of astrology is you tune into your water placements. You tune into the water, the flow and the ease of the water, because times are not easy out there right now. Let's see what's up with the tarot. All right. We have me trying to not use the correct app. There we go. Okay. Um, oh, interesting. The lovers in reverse. Yeah, your uncertainty about yourself. I think this is exactly what I was talking about. Like your compassion begins with you. Your love begins with you. You can't love somebody any further than the capacity that which you're willing to love yourself. And it's the same coming back to you. People can't reciprocate. They can only reciprocate love to the capacity that, or to the extent that they're able to love themselves. And so if you want to love others more or receive more love from others, you have to love yourself. And by that, you've got to be authentic. And I'm going to tell you something, y'all. I've been doing personal development work since 2010. So 15 years I have been doing personal development work. And I'm not lying, I'm not kidding when I say it took me the first 7 of those years to learn how to like myself. And to and then I really didn't fully embrace and accept myself until I got to know my personal astrology. Game fucking changer. Because there were parts of me that no matter how much personal development work I did, and I believe in the power of personal development work, I use it concurrently with astrology. But I can tell you in the years that I did personal development and learning my astrology, it took me all of that, most of that time just to accept myself, every part of me, including the dark energy of myself. Because y'all, I'm a Scorpio moon. Like there's definitely some dark going on over here. I'm an Aquarius sun. I see through some bullshit. Usually. And then I get caught off guard and have to deal with the consequences of that. But I think there's something to be said for really learning yourself, trusting yourself, loving yourself, caring for yourself, having compassion for yourself, but really getting out there as yourself, because nothing inauthentic stands the test of time. Everything that is authentic, in integrity, is ethical, and all of those things will stand the test of time. If you're being a fake and a phony, your shit's gonna crumble eventually. People will see through your charade. So be yourself by all freaking means. There literally should be no reason for you to not at this stage in the game. We've been through 5 years of craziness. And we also got Justice Upright. Geez, these are cards we've been drawing a lot lately. I swear to God, I shuffled the deck. Seeing yourself objectively, seeing the world objectively. I talked about, I think a few days ago, about zooming out and seeing both sides, because we all kind of get caught in our own opinions and our own belief systems. Jupiter's in Cancer now, and we just had that full moon in Sag, what was that, a week ago? Yeah, a week ago now. And Jupiter is about belief systems, it's about dogma, it's about philosophical things. And but I feel like if you're unwilling to zoom out and see that, and you could take this from a religious perspective or a knowledge perspective. You can take it from a political perspective, like whatever, however you need to take it. But it's a matter of it's kind of like the Christian who thinks that the atheist or the biker dude with all his tattoos and has the judgments about that. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, some of the nicest people I know in this world are every opposite of what you would think would be kindness, or what is perceived or interpreted as being kindness. And they're some of the nicest fucking people that I know. And so, I don't buy into the bullshit that somebody has to do a set how do I want to word this? I don't buy into the bullshit that somebody has to um, be a certain way, show up a certain way. I was just, if someone's spiritual, you may not know it by looking at them until you actually get in a conversation with them, right? If somebody is religious and believes in God and reads the Bible and prays every day, you may not know that by looking at them. And so I feel like there's, this justice is about really um not just for religion, but like for anything, is zoom the fuck out and see things from a broader perspective. Maybe somebody doesn't have a paying job, but they do a lot of things that help their community or help the nonprofits that they support, or they do good things that actually help people that maybe doesn't pay the bills, but it pays the heart and it pays the, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying don't do things without getting paid. But what I am saying is that I think that there's people who have a clouded, very laser focused judgment about others, and they can't see past it. To see, they can't zoom out to see that there's people in this world who live life differently. They're meant to live life differently, and it doesn't necessarily have to align with or be in the same, um, the same, lane as you're in. And so, but it's not our job to criticize or judge. We can make fun of every once in a while. I'll tell you what, y'all. I have been through ups and downs with friendships over time, and I have a few people who have been in and out of my life over the years, and there are certain common denominators that often come back into play, and sometimes those friendships are able to kind of reconnect and rejuvenate. Other times they're not. But the point is that like, sure, you're both tuning back into that common denominator. It doesn't mean that you've got to reconnect, but there's just that recognition that like, hey, we're both doing this thing, and that's kind of cool, and not making fun of it or criticizing the other person for doing what they're doing. I hope that made some kind of sense. All right, let's see what we got from the ancient feminine wisdom. We got, let's see. Oh boy. I think it's Iphigenia. It's Iphigenia. 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 I haven't heard of this. Um, Sacrifice. Oh, okay. This could be interpreted a few ways, but what I'm going to say is that it goes back to Saturn conjunct Venus and the North Node that we experienced for most of the month of April. Was, you've got to give up something good to have something great. You've got to sacrifice some part of yourself in order to have something great come out of it. So with all of this energy and everything changing, like you may have to let go of something or sacrifice time with friends or time with, you may have to sacrifice a hobby in order to start and run your business. You may have to sacrifice your time with family to get your workout in or to work on your writing project, your reading project, like whatever it is. So I feel like that's very true. Like there's times when like, it would be so easy to say yes to going out with friends, but in reality, you really want to get the project done and really want to focus on. So you may have to say no to, situations. And that was that whole Venus Saturn North Node. And we're still in the reverberation of that. And I feel like it's just, because it was the North Node. So whatever was coming up for you is going to continue to be a theme. you know, especially as we head through the fall time when the sun will be in Virgo. Um, and so those kinds of things are going to continue to come up. So anyway, all right, that's what I got for this moon in Pisces. I hope y'all are doing good. Drop me a comment. How'd your weekend go? And other than that, I'll talk to you on the next video. Take care.